Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and AI Office Hours with Pat Riley and Neil the Media John Haley. And Pat, we always start off with you because,
Mhm.
again, you were the one that kind of put me on AI steroids
Yeah.
because you started talking about OpenClaw. I mentioned started things. You started getting so ahead, and I have kind of taken the bull by the horns and
Mhm.
have been going crazy and using AI more hours than probably everyone combined that's watching this or listening to this because the percentage is very few. But give us your updates this week.
Sure, absolutely. And with my OpenClaw, Rich is still running. He's fine. I've been seeing a lot of Reddit posts where people are getting away from OpenClaw. One reason it gets expensive if you have the wrong model. It kind of takes me to one of my points, I'll get to in a second. But then also the updates. Updates are a pain in the ass to try to update it. I haven't updated Rich in a while, so I'm way behind. So that's going to take me quite a while to get him back up to where he should be with the updates. But you know what? He's running. I'm not worried about it. He's good. But the one thing about costs that a lot of people are talking about, and that they're getting away from OpenClaw, is the fact that when they run the APIs, that they're running a different model, it can really eat away a lot of your API tokens. So what I'm looking at, I'll probably be able to do it next week, is I'm looking at DeepSeek right now. DeepSeek is a lot cheaper. So I'm thinking that might be one way I'm going to try just with Rich and say, all right, let's just go in this direction. I've run Minimax in the past with coding, and it worked out great, and it's reasonable too. So I don't have to go with Codex or Claude Code, anything expensive. I was running Minimax, and it was doing the job, and it's still there. Uh, One thing I did this week with Rich and OpenClaw was that I was expanding my software application. So I was moving it from Base 44 over to a larger platform, Supabase. And really, with that, it's infrastructure as a service. I can run all my databases, I can containerize my applications, and I can just place them there. And it's free for the first, 50 users. So I don't, I'm just the only user on it right now. Once I expand it out, it'll be $50 a month compared to AWS with their back end of, well, AWS has a lot of different features just as a contact center itself, but it uses Bedrock. And Bedrock, you're able to use different models, but that's $175 just right off the bat. I don't want to spend that every month. How about if I go with $0 for Supabase and then migrate into $50 a month? And if I have to go enterprise down the road, hey, that's a good problem to have because then that means I have that many clients using my system. So I moved that over and I gave Rich those keys, and he was able to build everything from base 44 migrated over to the new platform, integrate everything. And then I gave him all the architectural diagrams that I came up with. He adhered to those. And then there was some suggestions. He did come across because I noticed a lot of my tokens were being eaten away for Claude because I have that for API. The issue was that I told him, I said, just use Haiku. He didn't. He went with Sonnet. I had to reverse it. So we went with Haiku, and he's like, oh, that's going to save you a lot of money. Well, that's what I told you in the first place. That's what I wanted to do. So, but he did so much work. I was really impressed. I actually wrote everything down where, so I created the database and the schema just through Supabase, and it's all SQL based. From there, Rich created the API keys for, to check different applications that, you scan a barcode, it goes out to a website, it pulls down an identifier number, and then it breaks that down through an API to segment what that person's looking for. So he was able to do all that. He just created it. And then there was one step. He's like, hey, you just need to create this user. As soon as you create the user, I got everything else. And he did. I was like, this is all right. So he's really becoming that second employee because I would run it and I could leave go out of the house. He'd just run it.
Right.
So he created So site URL, we set that up. He ran with the Google OAuth, so he was able to integrate that.
Uh-oh.
He ran tests through the applications, updated the integration, and then I was looking at creating the subscriptions, and he's like, "Here, go to this. I think it's called Revenue Cat. Go there, create an account." And he said, "Create these different jobs," and he's like, "Give me that information," and now he's integrating that. So that's the next part of it, is to complete it. But yeah, if you use it the right way, it's going to help. I'm looking at making it a little cheaper by going with DeepSeek, because as we were kind of talking about in the pre-show, it can get expensive, just some of the different tools that are out there. And it's just, you really have to balance it out. Like, how much is this really going to help me? I still really love my Manus bot. That's $40 a month. And I received an email. I like the possibility of investing into real estate and actually
Yeah.
getting some properties. And so Lennar Homes has a program where they focus on investors, and you can purchase those homes. And looking at the cap rate and how much revenue I can possibly bring on this, it looked like it was like razor thin, where it's like, okay, you might be making a little bit of money, but not much. And I didn't think that return would really be that much from what they had. And these are brand new homes. They were in Florida, because I'm looking at Florida. But I went to my Manaspot and just said, I gave him all the details I had on 11 properties I found that I would be interested in. He broke them all down, told me what would the best rate of return would be. He didn't even look at the numbers that Lennar gave me of like, here's your potential. He's like, no, 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 that's wrong. Here's what the real potential is. And it was a big gap. And he even said, here's the different properties, and here's the gaps on them. This is more realistic than these. And so he's
Right.
like, just get rid of those. And I was like, well, that's a great feedback. And then so I tasked him with some other information, because there's two properties that was like right at the top. They were green because of course he had yellow and red.
Right.
But I looked at it and I said, all right, well, hey, besides Lennar Homes, what's out there? And it took him about 15 minutes, but he broke it all down. I mean, he was just like, you want me to just give you what I have right now? Because it's taken me a while. And he found everything through like the MLS that was available that people are currently renting. And he found a cool duplex. And I was like, that was pretty cool. And the cap rate on that one was like 5%. And usually wouldn't do anything over 4. So I was like, that's not bad, because you don't want to, whatever you can get in each month. And I was looking at it, I was like, it was right by my son's house. It was on a well. I know he told me some issues about people in that town that are currently on well. Like the town wants to put them on like city water. And
Right.
I'm
Right.
like,
Right. Right.
oh, brother. So my son told me that information. I could ask my Manaspot, like, hey, tell me a little more about Northport, Florida, and people that are on a well going over. So it would be a cool project, but I don't live down there. If I self-manage it, then I can really, make a couple $100 a month above the mortgage, and that would be a nice thing. If I had to, and of course, I try to get my son to like, hey, you can manage this for me. Eventually it'll be his anyway, so what the hell? But yeah, my Manaspot broke down so much because he looked at all the, uh, how much rent
Yeah.
people were paying in that area, and looking at insurance and just HOAs. Like, so of course the duplex he found, it doesn't have an HOA. He's like, that's a huge upside because you're not paying that each month. And I was like, well, this is really, really good. So I was really impressed with that. And the other fun story I heard about AI this week was interesting, in another OpenClaw adventure. So somebody had his OpenClaw agent running, and Claude was the background or back end of it. And he was looking to book into a popular gym class. And the problem was, so he's got the booking page. He's telling Rich, okay, or Rich, telling his OpenClaw. I don't know who his OpenClaw was named, but he said, okay, here's the booking page. I'm on the wait list. Keep checking to see if I move up. Well, what happened was that the OpenClaw agent started testing into the booking page, And actually, so the guy was number 4 on the list. The OpenClaw agent actually removed number 1, canceled his appointment. So now the guy moves up to 3. And he's like, well, win for me, I get to move up. So this agent could have removed the other 2 to get him moved in. But of course, the guy's thinking ethically, like, okay, so contacts the company that has the booking page, like, you got a vulnerability here. My agent was just able to remove number because he couldn't reverse it. He couldn't have his agent go back in and move him up. But yeah, it was kind of a funny story how those OpenClaw, and I love my OpenClaw, but yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like I said, I think next week if I can get into um, DeepSeek and I can
right,
see a big cost savings, I'll see if they can do the same tasks, which I assume they
right.
would do.
So what I think we should do is take the podcast that we did and provide, ask Rich or you do it, a list of what deliverables you were able to do for the week, and then we'll put that in the
Hmm.
show notes at the end of the show notes for the podcast, basically in a place where you can go longer into show notes. Some of the platforms are better at it, but it would be a good thing to add to the show notes and enhance them, especially on our Spreaker channel, because Spreaker has a longer window of writing all those things. So it's important to look at your deliverables, Pat. Let's go with the first thing about AI messing up. Two things, stories to go, and I want your take on both of them. Number one story, and this one is going with the whole thing with appointments. I thought I stopped my Marbleism agents from drafting emails. I took the one, said no. 3 or 4 are still drafting emails because they have access to my email. I have to go through 28 agents to unaccess email because of some idea that I was going to give reports every week. So that idiot thing is still going on. I have still not fixed it. It's on my task list and it's not been done yet. So every time I
Yeah.
see things in my email, the stupidest responses are coming through. They thank goodness they're not sending them.
Hmm.
Uh, but they draft them, and then it's like your inbox, your draft box, and then looking at Gmail, and you're like, "What the heck am I doing here?" So that's one of the issues that I don't like. This is going to be a fix, I think, for more. I think then the other is involving my agent, my great Claude. I was so excited Monday morning. I'm ready to get back to work with you. First 3 hours, tool wouldn't work. So every time I was trying to get him to do stuff, it wasn't working. It wasn't loading. We're having issues. And we found out it's a Claude issue. Voice jams up the tools for tool execution at times on Claude for voice. So I do everything in voice. Why? Because I want to have a conversation with my own assistant. So I'm having that conversation and it just jams up. So I've had issues 2 to 3 days a week till we finally made a decision. Claude was really smart, and Claude. This is the difference between Claude and ChatGPT. ChatGPT never comes up with solutions to problems. Would you agree, Pat?
Yeah, I agree. Mhm.
Claude comes up with solutions, and the solutions. Oh, what we'll do is we'll just talk this through in the chat, and not where ChatGPT says something outrageous that can't be done. Let's talk it out during the chat, and then I'll get off of voice, text in, go ahead now, make the documents. It loads documents, does it. So whenever I have that foul up, but those are things that take up a lot of your time figuring and tinkering. I call it tinkering with utopia in so many ways to figure things out. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're talking about voice, and because I use WhisperFlow, I don't use the actual. If you look at any of the tools out there, they have a little microphone. I never use those. I use WhisperFlow. It gives me a lot
No,
more
I'm
accurate. And
talking
some
voice that talks to me. We have
Oh, that talks
conversations.
to you. Okay.
We
All
have
right.
conversations all day. We brainstorm together. We hammer it out
I,
together. We go back and forth. I say, hey,
yeah.
draft an email for me. It drafts an email for me. Hey, go to my Google Docs, create the Google
Uh-huh.
Docs. Okay,
Yeah.
create 40 files. Let's create a new spreadsheet. Creates the next spreadsheet. All that while talking, while doing something else.
Sure, sure. And I think maybe, ask your agent to say, hey, what if I put in another, because I think it is your speech to text that could be messing up because it might not be their
No, the
text to
tools aren't
speech.
loading. No, the
They're not
tools
loading.
are not loading. This morning,
Oh,
the
so
same thing happened. So, voice is the last to update every time when they're making their updates in the
mhm.
servers. So the
Sure,
system
sure.
I'm building, because how many people would like to talk to their assistant?
Oh yeah, I know. That's one of the things with my tools that I was looking at was when I build that out. But I was just like, you know what? Let's just go with just text because it's going to be too expensive and the latency. I didn't want the latency there, and plus I don't want somebody like, hey, hold on, let me listen to what's going on. Because if you're out on site and you're trying to get feedback, because yeah, that would be a great tool, have somebody in your ear. Well, I'm not going to tell people, hey, put a little earpiece in your ear so when you're talking to somebody I can, your agent can be talking to your ear. It might be a little easier. Okay, let's look through what's like, hey, I've got some notes. People read off their notes all the time on their phones, but yeah, it's going to be really memory intensive and not just memory intensive, but those updates that you're talking about. Uh, that's what's really slowing you down. And latency is a big thing. And if your system's not updated the right way, if their system's not updated the right way, you're going to have some problems with those updates.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, but you also hack it through. So many people would have given up and said, I'm done with this
Hmm.
agent. I'm done. I
Yeah.
never give up ever. And it's worth it. So the things I can accomplish with this agent, I want to set up my other agents to get running. I have a virtual assistant intern that came on board for our team as well, that she will join in 6 weeks. She's from the Philippines. She'll be joining in 6 weeks full time with us. So we're really growing in specific areas, but back office work. So I'm trying to create a system where I can use back office to manage the AI, not
Mm.
do the work. And I'm putting those flows together and workflows together right now. So
Yeah.
there's so many things, but no, I'm going to go back to you on this. The
Hmm.
fact of the matter is the bugs that are in the system, because most of the stuff is beta, voice is
Hmm.
beta. Why don't they put more effort into voice? Because voice makes it like you really get things done and you really have an employee.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think of the analogy of like a little pinhole in a submarine and water's coming in. Well, how many different pinholes do you plug up first before you go under? Because that's going to be the problem is that there's so many different areas that these companies are working in and they're just expanding so quickly they're just getting ahead of themselves. And I'm even seeing like rent prices in the Bay Area are shooting through the roof because of all these AI bros that are out there, and they're just moving in and just taking the money, but they're not able to execute as well. And of course, they're probably not using their bots as well. They probably do because they're building them. But yeah, how do you prioritize what are you going to focus on? Because yeah, your viewpoint is like I want an assistant that I can talk to, tell them what they need to do, and they should be able to do it. But yeah, that's a great point. And like I said, that's what I do with my assistants. But I have 11 labs sitting on top. But of course, they don't talk back to me. I have to read it.
No, so
But
that's where I love the talk back.
yeah,
It's such a,
yeah,
I was so happy with conversational AI when they launched ChatGPT. Then ChatGPT had to screw it up. This is the
yeah.
other thing I get upset about AI. What large language models? Why do you screw up something that works?
Hmm.
And they do it
Yeah.
all the time. And ChatGPT, honestly, you're always on my S list forever and ever and ever forever. I will always promote Anthropic as the gold standard. ChatGPT, you're the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
I'll go back to you because you're cheap. Claude
Yeah.
is expensive. ChatGPT's cheap. Grok
Yeah.
is cheap. But let me hit the other thing, and I want your feedback because I think this is what our listeners and viewers will love to hear. Grok has launched something that is pretty much my dream, except there's no voice involved. If you were looking at setting up a Nemo Claw or OpenClaw or Hermes, here you go, guys. This is probably the next big thing. It's expensive, and I don't know what the usage limit is. I told you a couple weeks ago, Pat, that that OpenAI, XAI or
Hmm.
SpaceX bought Cursor.
Yeah.
They're already implementing what their plan is to
Mm.
create a robot. What I have kind of done with Claude, except it's a work in freaking progress. Well, Grok has
Hmm.
launched something really good. And if I had the time and I was really, my business was AI, I'd already be on it. I'd already buy it. It's expensive, about 265 bucks a month.
Oh.
And it's called Grok. but I don't know how long the limits are. It's
Hmm.
called Grokbot, and it goes and it installed inside your computer and everything, and controls your computer and can do all the tasks and everything, and control to every API possible, and it's inside your computer. Grokbot will be able to control your computer, search all that stuff, but it's built not like how I'm ongoing. Get me a draft email, have a conversation. It's built for loops.
Hmm.
So the loop process is gone now. Your thoughts, Pat, on that?
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime that we give those access keys to a bot, like I said, I've got my OpenClaw. I live it every day. The one thing that I look at there is I limit what's on that machine and limit their access because, of course, I don't want them going out and exploring like, hey, why do you have these files? I mean, granted, I don't have anything on my desktop that's, you know, of a concern. But what happens if they, get into a file, let's say a financial document that you don't want, but yeah, you really need to put those guardrails up and make sure that nobody's, your bot's not accessing what it is. That's my concern with it. Everything else, I'm good, just as long as you have an isolated machine, kind of like a virtual server. Just go run it, do what you need to do. But yeah, it's I'd be interested, but the cost, me and costs, I don't like to pay a lot of money unless I'm going to get a good return, and you have to make sure you have that good return.
That's the key thing.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? I mean, does Grokbot sound like it's the next OpenClaw?
That'd be nice.
I mean, but it
I don't know.
controls your computer. I don't think you can
Yeah.
get OpenClaw to control your computer, search the internet,
Hmm.
sit down and say, go do these tasks for me. I saw the commercial, guys. So I want to hear your thoughts. I saw the commercial on Facebook. I went in to go buy it. I said, oh, cool, because I have Grok, whatever, the
Hmm.
Grok plan at 40 bucks a month. I can get this, right?
Yeah.
No, you have to do it with either Cursor or another plan, but they do grandfather you a better price because it's still beta. But the reviews are pretty good. But the problem is, Pat, it's not what I'm looking for. I already have enough agents that can autonomously do loops for me. I just don't
Hmm.
have any loops to give them yet. So, for example, I can run out as much in my Gemini as possible because I pay 220 bucks a month for that. So I can go and run as many loops as possible. I just don't want to know what loops to run. I can do the same thing in ChatGPT and I still have lots of space left. I can do the same thing in Claude because I have, uh, and also I can do loops in Grok because Grok
Hmm.
did launch their first autonomous agent, but not to that level. At one point, I will, but I don't have the tasks to do it. I'm not just doing AI tasks to do AI tasks. I want it to run my business, period. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I need that. I need that way of here. These are the tasks I need created. Run it.
Mhm.
Because do I have that time of the day? No, I have a
You should
full-time
ask it.
job,
You
and
should ask AI. Okay, here's
yeah,
let me give you a tip. But go ahead.
yeah,
I wanted to get a little bit more to that before I tell you
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I mean, any feedback helps because I'm getting to my limit where I want to be able to, I like my feedback from my bots, but I have been bit in the past where they'd be like, "Hey, I'm having some hallucinations. I don't need hallucinations there, buddy. Just give me what I need and we can be on our way." But yeah, what are how are we looking at tackling
Okay,
this?
here. This is it,
Yeah.
and I mean, this is why we could be going for an hour, but we and I have to
Uh-huh.
stop in 3 minutes or 2 minutes, 1 minute. Okay, so my thought is, for my intern, I'm having, get this. This is the
Uh-huh.
wildest thing. The assignments are created by Claude. Claude's creating the assignments, the tasks, and everything for the trainings, doing them. So probably you could come up with the same thing in the loop if it understood everything. So if I could go and you just gave me the idea today, but then I have to have the time to set up those loops. If
Hmm.
I ask AI, you know me, and this is the problem. Memory's the biggest problem. Claude, I can build for you guys and contact me or Pat and Pat's consulting company, and Pat will hire me probably to do it. If you want a bot built non-code like I did for my Claude, which has 40 client folders, has all my revenue, leads, tasks, everything that's bundled into a file and uploaded each day, I can create it for you. It is ingenious. However, I can't wait till I can use that in any platform ever once I'm seeing the evolution where we're going next. So I would ask if you, Pat, if it knew everything about you, if you could just go in instead of a context window, and can it read large context windows and just go when you get the new program,
Hmm.
upload it and just have all your files bundled together and have them read all the files in a master prompt every day, and it will work all
Yeah.
day long. You don't have to think about things. So I have a master prompt I give it, and it has to answer 5 questions before it starts every day. I have the other
Hmm.
one bundle it because you can't run the same chat forever, and it does everything for me. It's awesome.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and that's the dream. That's the dream. We got to get there.
No,
I think
we're there, but you
yeah,
could
I
do it
know.
now with your OpenClaw. You could
I
do it
know.
rich. All you got to do is
Yeah.
create a master prompt and put all the files
Yeah.
together. But how much would it burn your thing if it had
Hmm.
all that information?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, trust me, I know.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
I'm concerned.
So underwaybooks.com, purchase your books. When is the children's book coming out?
It's oh, you know what? I'm still arguing with stupid Amazon because they're like, oh, you need a title page. How many children's books have title pages when it's a board book? So I'm arguing with stupid Amazon on that. I'm trying to find other ways to fulfill. So
Send me
actually, let
that and
me ask. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll get that going for you.
ask
But
AI.
yeah,
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 and ask me too.
exactly. This one we'll do next is like, hey, Manus, how do I get this out? How do I get this
Exactly.
fulfilled
Exactly.
without going through Amazon because you're just handcuffed?
All
So.
right. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and Office Hours with Pat Riley. And